It is me and Phelan holding down the fort for next week. But this week we are talking about all things marketing, and this is this month in the world of marketing. And look how good the graphics are. You liking it? I'm loving it. Yeah.
I'm not watching the live, and it's not. I only see you in Restream or in
Oh,
Ecamm. So
aren't you feeling fortunate?
uh, I, like I said, I complimented you. You look great today.
I know, and it's the camera as I showed you. Do you know I'm going to put SICS live, and of course I look awkward. I'm going to mute myself for a second and have a little cough, Greg. So say hello and say something.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're missing two of us this week for the monthly wrap up, but I'm Greg with Original 72 Creative, and we're a full service website graphic design and digital marketing firm in Vancouver. And of course, you know,
Hello. I am back. Yes,
bam.
thank you. Bam! And today is good. We're going to have a really fun chat because we're talking about all the things that have happened in the last month for search, social, and websites, which is what we focus on because really search, social, and websites does cover like the space of digital marketing, except for email marketing, right, Greg? You think? But we include email marketing. It's kind of like one of the things, and it just doesn't fit in search, social, or websites, does it?
Well, I mean, it fits in the realm of digital marketing.
Right. Right. It's
Yeah.
true. So, but okay. So the first things first, go change your passwords, everyone.
Yes.
Um, Huge breach. I think, I don't know, Greg, do you know who the breach was from? Was it from Facebook or like, but millions of people's information?
Yeah. I've only like read headlines about it. I've not read any articles to see exactly who and where everything was, where it was breached from. But I just know from what everybody's been reporting, it's massive, and it's usernames and passwords for across like tons of
Yeah.
different platforms. I think this is really something that you want to make sure that if you are the type of person who uses the same password for everything, this is where you leave yourself open to be much more vulnerable, because if your password gets exposed, then people can just try that password if they know,
Mm.
other places that you might be, especially
Active.
like banking things, and all of that
Mm.
really important stuff. You want to make sure you have a secure password and a different password for each of them, just to protect yourself as much as you can.
Yeah, I think we'll start posting something in the group about, hey, don't forget to update your passwords, because I think it's really important, especially as we get deeper into this. I think deeper into the digital space. I think there's going to be a lot more security. I always said the best businesses to get in for like in digital space is security would be a number one spot if you're interested, right? Because you will in the future us need are going to have it super locked down. So, but I think that's the biggest news of the month that we wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest thing that's come out
Mm-hmm.
in the recent couple of weeks here.
Right. So we'll
But
play a game with that.
I see we have a ton of stuff in this card. Who did you put all this stuff in?
Phelan and myself, we all went looking
Okay.
for it because
I
it was
looked at
good.
it and I was like, "Is this an old card? There's a lot in here."
Yeah, yeah. The bottom
Even
stuff
things that
is,
I hadn't even heard of. And I feel bad about coming on these wrap ups, because I'm so focused on and busy doing my client stuff that
yeah,
a lot of the time I don't have the time to go and like
research.
see news, or like even see what's happening in the past couple of weeks, right? And so when we come on for our little prep meetings, I'm like, I don't really know what's going on this month.
Well, it's really funny because like each month it's so different, and I mean I have my resources I go to for sure for stuff. Like I follow Rusty Brick for SEO stuff because he covers search. And I find it really interesting. But and then you know what? I started doing research on TikTok to find some news. Nothing. I couldn't find anything, which was really interesting because it's a good search engine. And then I
Yeah.
also like, well, a month is a long time. That's the thing. So I've started to grab pieces here and there because a lot after a month. I mean, you're doing websites, so a lot of the topics are, big updates, but like plugins. There have been some plugin breaches, I think, in the last month, but the rule of
Yeah, it
thumb
looks
is
like
just update.
we have two in our card here. Phelan must have found out about these ones. So why don't we get right into it?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for web stuff, going on the theme of things getting hacked,
yeah.
there's been some critical vulnerabilities identified in Better Search and Replace for WordPress, which is a
Mm.
plugin that gives you more functionality around being able to search things on your website above
Ooh.
what the basic way that WordPress's search function works. So,
Does WordPress's search function work well? Because I
yeah,
thought that was
sure.
one of the hardest things to get working well on your website.
Well, it works, but it doesn't work. It works and it will find what you've typed in. It'll find it in pages and posts and titles. What it doesn't do a great job of is like separating pages from posts or specifying I only want to search through titles or I only want to search through content.
Mm.
And also, it doesn't do any like it needs to be exact, right? So if you're searching for
Oh.
something and if you don't type it in like exactly how it is on the site, like you're only going to get exact
Mm.
um, results of what you type in. So it's very basic, right?
Okay.
So Better Search and Replace is a plugin that will extend your ability to customize how you can
People search.
do searching on your site.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
anyways,
exciting.
it's had an identified vulnerability and suggests to update that right away to
Mm.
protect yourself. A
Okay.
second plugin, ACF, which is quite common.
Tell me
ACF
more.
stands for Advanced Custom Fields.
Ooh.
So this plugin is used when you want to have, so for a post page, as a for
Mm-hmm.
instance, you have a title, you have a featured image, you have the page content, you have categories, that kind of stuff. Advanced custom fields, when you install that, you can create additional fields that you can assign to your pages or posts that you can then collect that data. So if you
Tell me more.
want to put in like a subheading or
Okay.
like a phone number or like any additional information that you want to collect or store separately in a post,
Oh,
you can
okay.
set up additional fields, and then when you go to that to create a post, you'll see those additional fields that you can type in that information, and then you can display it how you want
Mm-hmm.
on the page um,
Hmm.
because you've collected that data. Yeah.
So who would a business owner be doing that, or would like your developer be doing that? It
That's
sounds like
more a
developer.
developer thing.
Yeah.
Like, so it's commonly used for like doing team bios, right? So you'll use the
Um,
post functionality to do your team bios, right? So you have the title, which is usually the name of the person. You have their featured image. You have their content, but maybe you want to display somewhere under their photo their name, their email, their Twitter or social
handle. Yeah,
handle,
yeah, yeah.
their
Okay.
like that kind of stuff. You can set up advanced custom fields and say, give me a field to put in their email, give me a field to put in their phone number, give me a field to put in their social
Mm-hmm.
handles, And then when you attach that to the post, then you can, when you're creating that post, there'll be separate fields that you can fill in. Okay, this is their phone number, this is their email, and then you can decide where you want that to be put on the page.
I like that.
Yeah.
But as it says, advanced in the in the name. So
It's advanced in it, and
yeah.
you want to use it more when I guess when you want things to look specific. So if you want everybody's bio to have a consistent look to it, and you just want the customer to fill in the data in the post,
Hmm.
um, then filling in that phone, email in a certain spot, you've specified where you want it to come out on the front end, and they don't
Okay.
have to worry about how it looks. They just fill in the information.
Ah, okay. Okay. Okay, so that makes sense. So the developer would set it up and then the person would could add their own info. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Lots of updates
Yeah.
in
So
the website space.
I guess we're getting into explanations of these things, but really what we're trying to do is report on that they've both had some critical vulnerabilities, and they both, if they are being used on someone's site, need to be updated right
Yeah.
away to keep yourself safe. Yeah.
Well, I think you should update plugins every 2 weeks, right? That's what do you do? What do you do, Greg? Is that what you do?
Monthly,
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
or if I'm in a site that I maintain, if
Then
I'm
you
in the
just
site
update it.
anyways doing something, I'll just do it. But at least I go into all of my sites on a monthly basis and do
Mm,
whatever updates need to be done. If
right.
there is something that I know is critical, then I take care of it right away.
Yeah,
Um, but
I get that.
otherwise, I go in monthly.
Right. So it sounds like the theme this week generally is uh, security issues, update stuff. I mean, even Apple had a security update. If you look at your computer, Greg and I were getting into a little tiff about Apple because he don't like it and I do, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, update security, big topics for this month. Overall, huge breach we just talked about if you're just joining us. And if you are just joining us, say hello in the comments and I'll try to put them up on a screen in the right way. We are going into search now. Yo!
I was gonna, before we move on to search, we have some other web stuff other than
Oh.
critical things that I had mentioned in our prep meeting. There was something new coming to WordPress, which has a little bit of buzz around it with the WordPress community, and it potentially being something that will start getting a lot more people to use the block editor
Mm-hmm.
instead of a page installing a page builder, and it's called partially synced patterns. And I think everybody probably knows, or maybe do, maybe don't. If you've used the block editor, they WordPress has you can build sections of a site using the blocks that are available, and then you can select a grouping of blocks and make it a pattern.
Ooh.
And so when you take that pattern that you've built and you're like, I want to use this all over the place. Maybe it's a mailing list sign up kind of a thing, and you want that mailing list sign up on a bunch of pages
Yeah.
looking the same, but you don't want to have to build it over and over again on every page. You build it, you save it as a pattern, and then when you're on a different page, you can just insert that pattern that you
Ooh.
created. And it's the identical look of what you built on a previous page, just on this new page. And these patterns can either be synced or they can not be synced. And so essentially what that allows you to do is you have a design and something that looks a certain way, and you can put it on multiple pages, and they're all synced. So if you make a change to one and save it, it'll change across all of them. You don't have to change them in every page it is, because they're all synced. If you unsync one of them, then that one won't be synced anymore at all, right? If you changed the one that all of the ones that are synced, if you changed one and you saved it, it would change across all of the ones that were synced except for that one that you unsynced. So that's been the functionality up till now, but partially synced patterns are going to give us the opportunity to have a block that we've designed, and can be parts of it can be synced. So what this will allow designers and people that have WordPress sites to do is to create sections. And so in this case, maybe the email sign up is not a great one because you kind of want that one to be the same everywhere.
Mm.
But maybe you just want like a layout of someone's bio,
Mm.
and you create a pattern based on that so that the client can use it over and over again, but the information, like the image, needs to change. The name of the person has to change. So you can create a pattern and partially sync the information um, that doesn't need to be, or that needs to change, so that the synced part is just the design aspect. Um, and if you change
Oh.
the design will change across everywhere, but the content won't, because you don't want the names and their, if they have designations or email showing or their picture, you don't want those things to change, but the design behind it you might want to change. And so you can partially sync those patterns with specific things you want to stay the same, but allow the customer to be able to change the other stuff.
Mm, interesting. Now, is this native uh
This will be
WordPress?
native WordPress.
Oh.
Yes.
That's exciting. So that means, is that the Gutenberg stuff? Like, is that
Yes.
the
Yes.
okay? Wow.
The block.
So I
The
mean,
block editor.
do you think, I mean, over time people will stop using themes as much because of this change?
Well, this isn't a theme thing. This is basically creating you're building your content on the page.
Hmm.
Um, so
So
yeah, it has
not the
nothing to
theme.
do with the theme. It has to do with building out your content within your pages.
Okay. So you would, okay. That's interesting, right? Website pages. Who builds them? Not me. Uh, not anymore. Actually, that's not true. I do build the content in pages for SEO. So
Yeah.
that sounds pretty interesting
It'll just be
to.
really great because designers or people who build sites for customers can create sections that can
Mm,
be reused. And the client could be like, oh, I have a new page and I want that section that looks like this. I'll drop that pattern in here, but then I can change the content in it, but the
mm,
pattern itself, the look of it is
the
still
same.
synced. So in the future, if you were to make a change to it, it would actually change across all those patterns, but the content that the client put in wouldn't change, because the content itself, the image or the text within that layout, isn't synced. It's the structure and
Mm.
the layout of the pattern.
Interesting. When is that due to launch?
I don't believe it's in the next release, but I think maybe the one after that. I could be
Mm.
wrong. I can check and throw that in the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm
Yeah.
also gonna throw Rusty Brick's video in the comments because some of the information I got today was from him. But so we're gonna dive into search. So Google Ads, SEO, AI, Facebook. We have some things. There's a couple things about Bing. Some information about Google Search Console. Pretty interesting. Okay, so we talked about critical vulnerabilities and website changes with patterns. That's super cool. Google Ads, Greg, you do Google Ads still for some of your clients, right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
do do.
I
I
do
do
do.
do. I do do. Yeah.
So Google's launched this new thing called Gemini powered campaign creation tool, and I think I have a link. Do I? Yes. So it's inside of Google Ads. Now, so I was adding, I think last week, trying to add images to a Google Ads campaign because we all know search engine results pages. There's a lot more action, pictures, things now. So I was trying to add some images, and I was like, "Where's the link to add images?" And I couldn't find it, like for the life of me. But if I went to the top menu, the wrench icon, and it now has a place where we can do
ad set.
creative stuff. Yeah, but it gives you your images, and so it'll show you the layout of what your ads will look like. It's pretty interesting. So this, I think this is part of the Gemini powered creation tool, because it's just giving us more. It's AI inside Google Ads. There's some really cool stuff going on. So although one might think AI is going to take over Google Ad stuff, I don't think it is, because I think you need the human eye to make it make sense, to like just change it a little. But there's a lot of change inside Google Ads right now. There's hotel ads have changed in the SERPs. There's big comparisons. If you do hotel advertising, you're in a little bubble of your own, right? They have different things on Google. You can book right from the knowledge panel, right? Or the Google Business Profile panel. And so, yeah, so hotel ads are changing. I don't know what's going on there. I try not to pay attention. And if I ever get a hotel client, I pass it on. I'm like, to the people that deal with hotels. So, but there's been some interesting news there. And then this will interest you, Greg. AI powered. We were talking the other day about what are third party cookies. And third party cookies are like Google Analytics, which is quite funny because if you're using Chrome, right? Chrome is from Google, but Google Analytics is also from Google, but it's considered a third party cookie. So Chrome can still get all, like, has all your data, right? But in order to let Google Analytics use it or share it or whatever, like, I guess you're gonna have to have that function on your website of like saying you're having cookies and things like that. So there's some weird stuff going on with the cookies.
Yeah, the third-party cookies thing. I know Phelan brought that up. I wish he was
Mm,
here for to give us more detail because I don't know a ton about it other than what he said. But I can explain what third-party cookies are for people. And so, a cookie is stored on your computer from a site. And typically, if it's your site, if you've created a cookie to store someone's session data, things that they were doing on your site, that's fine. That's you dropping a cookie for your site. That's first. So, third party cookies are external services that you're using. So, Google Analytics, and anything else that you might
Tag
have for
manager.
data or
Yeah.
functionality on your site that is not yours, but you're using as a service and they need to drop something to store, that would be a
Mm,
third party cookie. And that's what they're looking to
restrict.
restrict,
Yeah,
not eliminate. So, what does
uh,
restrict mean?
yeah, right. It's pretty interesting. Well, we'll see what it means. Right now, Phelan and I are learning how to, you know how when you go to websites and you click on the little button that says accept all cookies, you can
Mhm.
actually put that, I think, piece of JavaScript, if I'm correct, inside Tag Manager, and it's because it's a yes or no statement, right? Track or don't track. So if you do it there, or you can get a plugin to do it. So we'll see what all these new rules mean. But I do like that they're cracking down on themselves
Are they
and some
cracking
other
down on
people.
themselves or cracking down on others and they are just doing it differently now?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, we'll see. We should all know that Visa sells your information on everything you buy. And we should all be well aware that when we talk about, those new Nike shoes I want, or the new Adidas, or whatever, that the next time it rolls around, there's some algorithm that did something, and now I'm going to get those ads. You bet your bottom dollar. But needless to say, maybe I need those things. So we could have a whole talk on the Google privacy and the things we get to do as consumers and what we get to turn off and turn on our own. If anybody's been to their Google profiles, it's pretty interesting. But let's go. We're going to AI now, Greg, because we got 3 minutes. AI is crazy.
Well, we came on
Crazy.
late, so let's go a little bit long.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. AI. So, weirdest thing that happened. AI has started working with the U.S. military. Um, this is not a political statement or a political. This we're in marketing, man. All we know is that the rules of AI, some rules got re-released, and when people read through those rules, the only thing that had changed was that it said that AI can work with the military. That was one of the clauses, right? So if you're reading the contracts and jargon, I mean, oh, thank you. Somebody said this is such a great episode. Yes, it. Yeah, that's lovely. I'm gonna go find out who you are and virtually high five and kiss you. But the AI stuff is crazy. So the two big things are the military thing with the AI, and also chatbots got lazy. So giving excuses like you'd give your excuse to your boss, things like that, like you don't have enough information to proceed with the task, or it's used that kind of language. It's more you do it yourself.
This one was interesting when Phelan mentioned it because I hadn't heard of this, but I mean, yeah, it's it's
It's
like you
funny.
said or he said, AI is getting lazy. Like people apparently are asking it to do tasks, and it's being lazy about providing them the information, or more like telling them how they can do it on their own instead of actually doing it for them.
Mm,
Um, I don't know if this is a purposeful change that OpenAI has put in. I wouldn't be
mm,
surprised if they've changed how how it works to possibly do that kind of stuff.
right.
Um, because do we think it would learn on its own and just become lazy? I don't know.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, I'm not sure. So that was Aura who said that. And we have a Dorothy that she likes her Mac, Greg, just so you know.
Mm.
But on the other side of what you were talking about, I haven't seen, I have a lot of fun with AI, but then I get trapped in, who else gets trapped in this cycle, right? Where you're in AI and you're like, oh, I'll make a picture. And then, yeah, you're there for 20 minutes later being like, oh, I'll try this. And it's useless and you should just move on quickly. So I don't think it's where it's going to be. But on that note, Google, I don't, if you use Google Ads and you've called Google in the last year, the service is like, it's almost worse than Facebook ads, if not worse. Like you can't get a hold of anybody. We have a trick for getting a hold of the people. But like you're
Mhm.
not getting callbacks, people aren't getting the help they need, like accounts get frozen. And we just learned that Google let go of a huge number of their sales reps. Now, if you don't know, their sales reps are those people that call you and tell you, ooh, go broad match, ooh, up your budget.
I still get tons of calls
Do
from
you?
the people who are taking care of or are assigned to the accounts that I manage. I find them relentless in
Mm.
calling to set up times to talk.
Well, do you know
And
why?
what?
Because they have a quota to fill. So they have a certain number of accounts that they hold. And of those number of accounts, there's a budget. There's their current budget and then the budget they have to hit, like a sales rep, right?
Mm.
So if they don't hit that budget, like, and the new people, like, those are the people we're getting called to. So if you have a really small Google Ads account, that's the call. You're getting the newbies. So, good question to always ask, how long have you been working there? Because you might know more than them if you're working in Google Ads, right?
So I'm getting the calls because I typically only deal with smaller
Yeah.
AdWord accounts for customers. If someone wants to do like a big thing, it would go to you.
Well, no, not even. It would go to somebody, but I've only dealt with a couple of the high reps because of some accounts I've been on because the
No, what
amount
I
of
mean
money they
is
spent.
like the clients that I have as AdWords
Hmm.
clients are small
Small.
budget,
Yeah.
only single or two campaigns, couple of
Mm,
no, they're
yeah. Yeah.
small fish, right? Like if I don't get into larger campaigns and like thousands
Mm.
of dollars a month, I would farm that off to you, who is more of an expert on this, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super fun. It's
But so I'm probably getting inundated with all these reps that are assigned to my clients because they're all small and doing their budgets are tiny and we're only doing a couple of campaigns and they're like we can boost these guys and get them to
more,
spend
yeah.
way more.
I will tell you, I had to, I had to be apologetic to a client this last month because around Christmas, Google, like the campaigns were running so well, and Google was like, "Ooh, increase your budget, and you'll get this many more conversions." And I was like, "Oh." And this client's very particular about their budgets, of course, right? It's money. And but because I guess Christmas was such a rush, I was like, "Oh, great idea! I want to get them more leads." It did not do its job, and I had to like be like, yeah, we spent a little extra money, and you can actually inside Google Ads you can see the version history, so you can see who did what. So I went and checked it, and yes, it was me. Ooh, ooh, hot flash! Look at that. Think I'm embarrassed. Um, needless to say, don't trust those Google Ads reps. That's the going, and they've all lost their jobs to AI. That's where I was going there, or not all,
Mm.
lots of people. So maybe service will get better. Maybe it'll be worse. But a lot of people at Google have lost their jobs recently. So, those people are probably pretty smart when it comes to Google, though, because they know the inside. So maybe, yeah, look around.
Anytime I talk to one of those people, my reps, I always basically just ask them a ton of questions
Hmm.
because I do basic stuff with AdWords. So
Yeah,
when they're going through things, I use it as okay, they
training. Yeah,
know what they're doing, so I'm just gonna like ask them a bunch of questions and learn more
yeah.
about all of these things that they're trying to get me to do and
Right.
what it all is.
Well, and I think that's really smart because then you start to learn the cutting edge things that they're trying to implement. Because if they're saying, like broad match, for instance, I might try it on something because maybe the algorithm, like, because AI is going to get better over time, and so doing things that can benefit you or your client is something to think about. You can't stick in your old ways, but yet you proceed with caution, and so try it on a small thing and say, yeah, we've completely changed how we do Google Ads in the last year. So, which
Mhm.
is really interesting. So, anybody interested in getting into Google Ads now is a good time because, a lot of the old information is stale and outdated. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, we are out of time. But before we go, just so you know, Bing's got some updates. What else? Like, let's travel through this quickly. Ooh, big tour. I've lost my information, so nothing else happened last month.
I like there's one comment. Big market share not growing.
Yes, poor
I'm
Bing.
shocked by this news.
Right. Bing Bing has launched like ChatGPT, they have their own that is exactly, and you can pay and get faster service and things like that. So if you want to try a different AI or a similar AI to ChatGPT, I would look over there. Other than that, next week we'll be here, but there is no topic. So if you'd like us to talk about something in particular,
Make a
list it
suggestion.
below because Rena's off for one more week and then she's coming back. And there's a lot happening that we're going to talk about next week. Anyway, so join us next week, same bat time, same bat place with the Marketing Gig Mixer group. Woo! And I'm so glad you're here, Aura. Thank you for joining us. Dorothy, thank you for jumping in. And if anybody has any comments or anything about this episode that they want to know more about, just message us in the comments anywhere.
And we'll be back to all four of us next month.
Next month. Woohoo! Chat soon, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.